They arrested her at the airport, the handcuffs clicking shut around her wrists with a cold finality. The crowded terminal fell into a stunned silence as two military police officers flanked the young woman in faded jeans and a black hoodie. Passengers craned their necks, phones hovered midair, whispers rippled through the air like wind through tall grass.
She said she was a SEAL. A woman? A Navy SEAL? That's impossible. She's a fraud, that's what she is. The woman, her head slightly bowed, walked without resistance.
Her auburn hair slipped from beneath her cap, and her eyes, calm but tired, scanned the gawking crowd. She didn't argue, didn't protest. The only sound was the rhythmic clink of the chain as she was led away. Her name was Danica Reeves, though hardly anyone here knew it. To them, she was just a pretender, another imposter in a world where people wore medals they didn't earn, uniforms they didn't deserve. The metal chair screeched against the concrete floor as Danica was pushed into it. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, throwing shadows across her face. A senior officer in crisp uniform set a file on the table and leaned forward. "You want to tell me why you claimed you're a Navy SEAL?" His voice was sharp, clipped, already accusing. Danica lifted her gaze. "I didn't claim anything. I just said I was meeting someone from my team." The officer snorted. "Your team? Lady, do you know how many people we pull in every year for pretending to be something they're not? You think slapping on a tattoo and telling stories makes you a SEAL?" For the first time, her eyes hardened. "You think I wanted this tattoo?" She tugged up her sleeve, revealing an intricate trident inked deep into her skin, faded but unmistakably authentic. The officer's jaw tightened. "That doesn't mean anything. Anyone can get ink." Danica leaned back, silent. Hours passed. Questions, accusations, silence. Then the door opened, and in walked an admiral. Silver-haired, his presence carried weight. The room itself seemed to straighten at his arrival. He glanced at Danica, then at the file. "Leave us." The officers obeyed without question. The admiral sat, studying her with a careful, almost pained expression. Then, leaning forward, he whispered words that froze even the air between them. "That tattoo's real, isn't it?" Danica's eyes glistened. Not with fear, but with something deeper. Recognition. "Yes, sir," she murmured. The admiral's gaze softened, but his voice trembled. "We never put women through Bud-S. Not officially." Danica nodded slowly. "Not officially. Not on the books. But after Fallujah, after we lost so many men, there was a program. Quiet. Experimental. You know that. You signed the approval." The admiral exhaled sharply, his face pale. He remembered. He remembered the handful of women tested in brutal, secret conditions, missions so classified they barely had code names. "You were on Mission Ember." Danica closed her eyes. Yes. Her story unfolded, piece by piece. Years earlier, she had been recruited from the Navy's rescue diver program. Her endurance, her ability to disappear into shadows, her resilience under torture simulations, it caught the attention of someone high up. Someone desperate enough to try the unthinkable. They trained her with a handful of others, breaking them down, pushing them beyond human limits. Most quit. A few didn't survive. She did. And when her team was deployed to a remote village where civilians had been taken hostage by insurgents, Danica proved herself. Crawling through tunnels barely wider than her shoulders, she had cut bindings, whispered comfort to crying children, and carried a boy with a shattered leg half a mile under fire. The mission was erased from official records. The men were decorated. She was erased. No one could ever know. "So why expose yourself now?" The admiral asked softly. "Why let anyone know who you are?" Danica's voice cracked. "Because they grabbed my brother at the airport. He's just a medic, but he was there with me in Ember. He saw everything. They're deporting him because they don't believe he served. I couldn't let him go alone." Her fists clenched against the metal table. "I don't care what they think of me. I promised my team I'd always protect family. And he's the only family I've got left." The admiral leaned back, his heart heavy. He knew the system. He knew the bureaucracy. Rules written in ink, humanity written in blood. The next morning, Danica was escorted to a closed tribunal. 3 officers sat behind a raised desk, files stacked high, their faces carved from stone. One by one, accusations were read. Impersonation, false representation, stolen valor. Each word cut deeper than a blade. Danica said nothing. She didn't plead. She didn't defend. She only asked one thing. Please. Don't punish my brother. He's innocent.
The officers exchanged glances, unimpressed. Why should we believe you? That's when the Admiral stood. He cleared his throat, his voice carrying the weight of years of truth too long buried. Because I was there when she saved 12 civilians from Ember. I was there when she carried a dying boy under fire. And I was there when she earned the trident none of you will ever wear. That tattoo? It's not a fake. It's a scar burned into her soul.
Gasps echoed. The officers shifted uneasily. One muttered, but women can't. The Admiral's voice thundered. She did. And she bled for it.
The room fell silent. Danica stared at the Admiral, her lips trembling. For years, no one had acknowledged her sacrifice. She had been a ghost, a shadow, a rumor in a world that wasn't ready to accept her. And now, finally, someone had spoken her truth aloud. Tears blurred her vision, but she didn't let them fall. Not here, not yet. The tribunal ended not with fanfare, but with quiet resolution. The charges were dropped. Danica's record remained sealed, her title unspoken, but her brother was freed. As they walked out together, hand in hand, Danica whispered to him, "It's over." He shook his head. "No, sis, it's just beginning." A month later, far from the city, Danica stood on a small dock overlooking the water. Children laughed nearby, veterans shared stories, and a community of the forgotten, those who had served without recognition, gathered around a fire. She rolled up her sleeve, tracing the faded trident. For years it had been a mark of secrecy, of silence. Now, it was something more. Not recognition from the world. Not glory. But a reminder that even in shadows, kindness mattered. Protecting others mattered. And sometimes, the greatest missions were the ones no one ever knew about. Danica closed her eyes, hearing again the Admiral's whisper, etched forever into her heart. That tattoo's real. And for the first time in years, she finally believed it herself.